Hi everyone, welcome to this video about benzodiazepines. My name is Bethel Israel, and today I'm going to be, just sharing with you guys about these drugs that are commonly prescribed. So just to give you an overview of what we're going to be discussing today, benzodiazepines are commonly prescribed for anxiety, panic disorders, insomnia, and several medical conditions. But they also have one of the highest misuse and overdose risks in young adults, especially when combined with alcohol or opioids. So in this presentation today, we're going to explain what benzodiazepines are, how they work in the brain and the body, and short-term and long-term risks, and why misuse of them is so extremely dangerous. So what are benzodiazepines? As we can see here, benzodiazepines are central nervous system depressants, meaning they slow electrical activity in the brain. They were introduced in the 1960s and quickly replaced older sedatives like barbiturates because they were considered safer. But we now know that they actually carry their own severe risks. So doctors prescribe them for things like anxiety, panic attacks, insomnia, seizures, and muscle spasm, many more things, but these are the main ones. And then some common examples of them would include Xanax, Ativan, Klonopin, Valium, or commonly known in the hospital settings as alprazolam, lorazepam, clonazepam, or diazepam. If you watched any shows that require medications like Grey's Anatomy, these may sound a little bit familiar. And then as we see in the pictures here, we just have some classes of drugs and benzodiazepines, and then we have just a small picture of what they look like, how they typically show themselves, and then what they impact, which is our brain. And so actually, how do they work? Well, benzodiazepines work by enhancing GABA, which is a neurotransmitter responsible for calming the nervous system. And so the GABA receptors are enhanced, which means that the receptor that receives the neurotransmitter in order to stop and slow down electrical signaling in our brain is being enhanced. And so what does that mean? It reduces overactivity in our amygdala, which controls fear in our brain, but also in our prefrontal cortex, which controls thinking and decision making. And memory may also be affected in this area. And so this process is what produces things like sedation, memory impairment, or slower reaction time. And this reduces things like anxiety, muscle tension, or even panicky symptoms that our body creates. As we can see in this top picture right here, we see a GABA receptor going into our presynaptic terminal. This is a GABA with GABA neurotransmitters, and they're just being received in order to have this effect that we see here, which is sedation, memory impairment, but also this is a picture of the brain. And our prefrontal cortex would be this area right here. That's what's impacted by this. So some of the effects on the body, well, they slow down the central nervous system, and it controls which is responsible for controlling all automatic body functions. So this means that things like our breathing becomes slower and more shallow, our heart rate will decrease. We have less coordination, and we have just overall less function in our body systems. And this is one reason why ER visits involving benzodiazepines often involve falls, car accidents, confusion, or blackouts, But the most dangerous effect is respiratory depression. When benzodiazepines are mixed with alcohol or opioids, both of which slow down our breathing, the body cannot get enough oxygen, and that leads to overdose, unconsciousness, and in some cases, death. And so what we see here is that we should not mix it with alcohol, that it is a respiratory hazard, but also here's our amygdala and our brain being impacted. And here is how we see that our brain up here actually functions with the rest of our body systems in order to keep us alive. And so without that, and with that being impacted, it's actually extremely dangerous for us. Some short-term risks for this include heavy drowsiness, slow thinking, and confusion. Many users actually experience memory loss or blackouts where they don't recall events that happened while they are under the influence of benzodiazepines. And these effects actually dramatically increase accident risk, as we can see in this picture right here. And these effects, even a standard prescription dose can have these dangerous effects on our bodies, but many college students actually make the mistake of mixing benzodiazepines with alcohol, often not realizing how extremely dangerous it is. And some long-term risks that we see here include tolerance, meaning your body needs more of the drug to achieve the same effect. and this can just happen within a few weeks of using it. Dependency can form even when taken as prescribed, and so withdrawal can be extremely dangerous. We can see causing severe anxiety, insomnia, tremors, hallucinations, or seizures. And this is why doctors taper benzodiazepines when they're prescribed very slowly. Over time, they can make anxiety and depression worse and damage your short term memory while impairing cognitive functioning. And so, we see that they're very addictive. They fog up your brain. Here are the classes of addiction, why they're so dangerous. And here's why college students might misuse them unknowingly. So college students often misuse actually benzodiazepines for emotional escape, to calm anxiety, to help them sleep, to get them through stressful academic periods. Others may take them recreationally to fit in socially at parties, or especially with alcohol to make the effects even better. Prescription sharing is common within environments of college students where they will share drugs that they have been prescribed to them, but without proper dosage or intervals of taking it. And yeah, it's extremely dangerous. It can increase the chance of blackout, assault, injury, or overdose, all which may lead to death. And so, yeah. But some healthy alternatives, ungratefully, that we have here are effective alternatives to benzodiazepines, especially for long-term anxiety or sleeping problems. One of them, the bottom bullet point here, being cognitive behavioral therapy, which is extremely effective treatment for anxiety disorders and doesn't carry addictive risks. But some simpler ones include good sleeping habits, exercise, mindfulness, and even the campus mental health resources open to college students. And so if you're prescribed a benzodiazepine, taking them exactly as instructed and avoiding alcohol is critical for your safety. But yeah, we see counseling groups here, tips for sleep as well. And yeah, to conclude, benzodiazepines can be extremely useful medication, but they come with real risks that are especially dangerous for young adults, and especially when combined with other recreational drugs. So by understanding how they affect the brain and the body, you can make safer, informed decisions. And I hope that this will teach us in the college realm to, yeah, make an informed decision when risking something as small as a pill that can be extremely addictive and dangerous. And so, yeah, thank you guys for watching. Here are my resources, and I hope you enjoyed learning about benzodiazepines today. Thank you.